Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's November 21st, 2019. I'm up in the 3rd Food Forest area, and today I want to see if I can get some of the garlic cloves and shallots into the soil. Typically, I try to plant our shallots and our garlic cloves between the end of October and the 3rd week in November. And it's been challenging this year because we've had such a cold Arctic blast that's really frozen the ground. The last three or 4 days we've had some warming during the daytime, and finally the soil surface on the permanent raised beds is nearly completely thawed. So I brought the dibbler up here a little while ago and started making some dibbles in the soil and thought I'd record this quick video for you. So we're in the 3rd Food Forest area. Over to my left, the right of the screen is Pond 1. Pond 2 is to my right, to the left side of the screen. The composting area is over there, and there's swales and berms all around this area, and I'll be making other videos showing how we're integrating the permanent raised beds, growing some of our annuals and perennials in amongst the fruit and nut trees that are in these areas. Now, these beds that you can see behind me, you can see 3 permanent raised beds that have newly been constructed just over a month ago. I was able to get enough wood chips in, and I used our large composting system to build up these beds. Below all of what you can see here right now, up until that tree right there where my thumb is, that tree is where the bald-faced hornet's nest was last year. It's where we planted the sweet potato slips this year and the blue potatoes this year. Just out of the screen to this side is an area where I grew some corn this year, and those were areas that we had historically grown garlic in for several years, and they were really fantastic areas. And they were permanent raised beds, kind of wide ones, that were made of compost with wood chips laid 2 feet deep all throughout this area. And below this whole area are the large hugelkultur pit systems, the pit systems that we dug when we cleared all this land, took the trees, the trunks, the root balls and the branches, and buried them underground, covered them up with soil. And since this is all gravel area, we ended up hauling in lots of wood chips to try to turn some soil into the surface. Did a lot of our composting and created the beds for the garlic, and that worked for quite a while. The hugelkultur pits had settled some, so there's some areas that are a little bit lower than others. And so this year I decided, let's go ahead and build up these permanent raised beds now that the wood chips had broken down into some nice decent soil. And we build the beds up on top of it and build up the wood chip paths in between as well. So that's just a brief summary of I built these beds. There'll be one more just to this side of the screen, and then we'll have another wider row of wood chips. So where these trees are, I used to actually have compost permanent raised beds right where the trees are, but the roots of the trees would work their way up into the compost, and when I'd harvest things like garlic and all, they would be competing with the garlic. So I decided in the areas where the trees are, with the exception of perennial crops, which I would not be pulling anything out, so I'll be putting some hedgerows with different berry production plants and a narrow path going right down the rows where the trees are. And then just on the other side of that is the area where there will be another hedgerow and composed of different berry plants, and then the fruit and nut trees in the berms to those sides. So today I'm going to see if I can pound down through the surface of the soil with the dibbler that I've got here for getting the garlic started. It's a little wide for these ones here, so we'll see how that works. Wish me luck. Well, that took a little bit longer than I'd hoped it would take. So the day before yesterday is when I started this video. I was able to get two permanent raised beds planted with garlic. The first bed I did, I used the dibbler sideways. I was able to get 8 rows in that bed. And then I was able to get 3 rows in the 30-inch bed. But then it got too late and I got too sore, and yesterday the windstorm was pretty darn bad. The frost overnight, and it's still just about 33 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I was able to use a small tool to break through the surface on the third raised bed, and able to get the shallots in this morning. Hopefully if the soil warms up in the next couple of days, I'll be able to cover up those shallots some. Just below freezing, I don't think will damage the shallots, but I don't have any straw to mulch the beds at this point. So keep my fingers crossed, hope things work out. It's been a challenging beginning of this winter so far, really cold. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below. I want to get inside, I'm cold. If you found this video of value, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post more videos, and by all means folks, have a super fantastic day. Take care now. Bye bye.